Always an excellent view at Crystal Beach. A little bit moist, don't know if I'll find anything today. This is going to be a completely different video. It'll be the first lecture, I guess. Mini lecture, and hang in there, you're going to get it in a second. Because I'm actually making this audio in response and in support for one of our friends here on YouTube. Jonesy, good job. Good job. And I will put this shout out from Indian Trace to all of you out there, and thank you for all the support in the comments. Jonesy, you had a lot of comment on those last things that you had to say about our president, current administration, and government, and so I want to follow up on that. Now, indeed, this is true. All of us should be proud of the fact that we do not express ourselves the same way as one another, but we're brothers. Now, if you don't want to take up arms, or you don't want to do one thing or another, or you don't want to eat your food a certain way, it doesn't matter. We're still brothers. And so I want to make a follow-up based on being a history teacher and studying history for 15, 20 years, based on in-depth studies of humanity, sociology, and anthropology. You know what? You're not wrong at all. He's not wrong at all. I'll say that. Don't know exactly how I'll follow this up, but I appreciate the comments. And if I don't express myself the same way or use the same adjectives, you need to listen closely, because I want to follow up on some of the things he said, because I know that some people immediately had to turn off what Jonesy had to say, but I decided I would listen. And he's not wrong about any of it, and I have always known that. Many of us have. That's why there was so many comments. So as we walk here, maybe we'll find something live, but I just needed to share this, and I don't even know where to start. I believe I will start with his opening comments about the stupidity of our president, and I refrain to use his name or the past Secretary of State's name or any such thing, because, yeah, what a debacle. What a disgrace. For they have usurped their authority. They have made decisions in which they should have been impeached for 20 times over. Many of us as citizens have the rule of law, have the love of constitutional law within us, I should say. And I stop just to think about where I need to go, because I want to follow this up and I don't want to be too long. I wish that many of us had half the courage, half the guts to make such sharp comments about how we really feel. Though we clothe it sometimes and we don't voice it, you better voice it with your vote. You better get up on behalf of your children, your parents, your loved ones, your relatives, and if you think that this society is the way it is, can maintain its status quo in your little bubble of comfort and your little basket of material comforts and things that you have, you're fooled, as he was trying to say. You're fooled. And I want to say this before I speak about our president going to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, because I have some very sharp comments about that are true as true can be, so stand in here. But if you think in terms of a vote that you're just going to sit it out because you're so unhappy with the candidate, listen, I'm going to tell you one thing. The candidate that is on the conservative side, if you want to call it that, is 100 times better than a fascist and then a radical who is akin to Hitler, who happens to have won the White House. Yeah, he won that fight, or the fight or two, which I never wanted in the first place, from months before the first election. And I look like him. There is nothing that has to do with looks. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, it is not to judge a man by the color of his skin, but the content of his character. Thank God our president has not had the audacity to open his mouth and say such a comment. Though I've heard people say such comments about him, their foolishness just overtakes me. And I'm with you on that, Jonesy. And so on behalf of voting, and I know, Jonesy, you made mention of this, you better get up and make a decision for your children, for your grandchildren, for your mother and fathers, or for the soil, or for going down to the store and buying something, or for having oil that costs $2 a gallon. I am not this apocalyptic figure that's crying out and thinks you should panic. I'm in full peace. But don't be so presumptuous, self-conceited, or self-righteous to think that you just so much better than a certain candidate that needs to represent your view, your beliefs. You must play your part in this game and in this battle, even if you don't agree with all the decisions. And in some ways, Jonesy was saying that. If together we do band, we will win the war. No, we didn't ask for it, but it is difficult to maintain a ship of freedom when there is hatred, selfishness, and sloth. And he was talking about these things. I don't know if the focus is coming in at all on this, bouncing you around. Let me try to be slower with this. All right. Now let me move. Now listen. Important stuff. I've never done one of these, but Jonesy, kudos. Just like many of the things that we've decided to do together, I've joined and decided I would make the comments. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I can't believe it. Our president has gone other places, and it actually doesn't surprise me. His stupidity doesn't surprise me. But should I die in the commission of freedom or speaking? Then that's fine. Because I wasn't born to do anything but live for something but live for nothing or die for something. Right? You're supposed to live for something, or you're going to die for nothing. There are warriors out here, and we band together as a brotherhood. No matter what shape or size you are, there are. Didn't mean to shake this around on you. So, apologizing for Hiroshima and Nagasaki, I will make this comment to begin with because I do have empathy and I do have sympathy for human beings. I would gladly, and that includes the disappearing of my sons in terms of them never existing. I would have gladly, and I'm a young one. I wasn't alive then. I don't think. I would have gladly taken the place of anybody in Hiroshima and Nagasaki when Fat Man and Little Boy were coming. When the B-2s were coming and the pre-notice had already been given that the bombs would be dropped. I would have gladly taken their place knowing what had transpired, knowing that it was going to bring an end to World War II. It needed to end, and we weren't going to be the ones to end it if people would do their history. Hitler himself was a radical, and definitely he was looking to end the war. But his end is world dominion, and he had already crushed all the ships that we had. We had no more iron. We had run out. We had no more workers. We were exhausted. And not just that, not just crushing our full fleet of battleships with his U-boats, but he was going to press down through the Bering Straits, through Alaska, and he made the swift and sure comment that the last bastion of democracy that he would crush would be the United States. How many of you out there would doubt that? Who would doubt that? Craziness. And he would have too. Don't you realize that? And it is not that we wanted to vaporize thousands upon thousands of people. It is that we needed to make a statement in the world that we weren't going to have it. That we weren't going to have somebody setting up camps with names such as Auschwitz to exterminate people who did not agree. To exterminate people based on the lie that somebody happened to be a pure race. They were mutts just like you and me, and we've been mixed for generations past. There is no pure race. That's a lie, everybody. And so, in godliness, realize that there would have been no stop. And, yes, the United States of America, that presumed thing that you think is impenetrable, would have been crushed. If not, we didn't even regard the fact that we knew Pearl Harbor was coming and it was going to happen. We could not even believe our radar. And so we were then hammered and crushed again with the loss of life. And it wasn't because we lost so many lives in Pearl Harbor that we decided we were going to drop the bomb. It was that we needed to end this thing. And so enough said. How stupid. What a miss of history. What false guided intelligence a president such as us could have to apologize for that. And I've talked to the highest pacifists and the best minds about this, and they don't have a good answer for it. They say, well, no matter what, I wouldn't do it. I can understand that, some of them, because I know their lives are lives of virtue, but not our unfortunate leaders. And so I will say this and not make this too long. I would have taken the place, sure. I would cease to exist here on this earth for this nation and for the things that we've brought in terms of peace and help to humanity. Don't be fooled into the lies thinking that we've hurt or that we are the cause of hatred in this world. We are not the cause of hatred for Al-Qaeda or ISIS or any homegrown domestic killer that decides they're going to blow half the Merrill building up. Isn't that right, Jonesy? Hatred will come because of the fallen state of man, and it's sad. Our natures are fallen and they're weak and they're prone to looking for self-exaltation. They're prone to looking for power because it's the easy advantage. They're prone to sloth if somebody will give them something. But as Jonesy said, you're not supposed to give a man a fish. You're supposed to teach him to fish. And then if he doesn't use that knowledge, he starves. No, that's not hatred. That's responsibility. And so I say all that to say this. Picking up a piece of rhyolite here. It is ignorance to apologize for Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And then some people say, well, how could you say that still? I say, let me bring it home to you. If you're sleeping in peaceful in this little safe nation you call a safe nation, in many respects it is, in many respects it's blessed, and that's why I'll defend it even unto my life, if you will. We'll band together and make the right decisions, even in vote. To move forward one step, if only one step, or move forward with somebody who only agrees with 3 things that we agree with. But it is a whole lot more than the 50 things we disagree with the current administration and their stupidity about our lives and the things that we need to do and about our work and the labor of our hands and the love of our children and our parents and our family and our brothers. And so, I will say this, though. The candidates we have, they're standing there. And the candidate that I believe you must choose now is one who has had forethought of 15 to 20 years, had a book of which he's following his vision and his thoughts, of which much of it I do not disagree with. No matter what it is, if it's, how should I say, and I don't want to lose my train of thought. No matter what it is, if it's capitalism or making money in terms of merchandise, there's going to be people hurt. But it is nothing like the people hurt in the stupidity of trying to give everybody free health care or any such thing. The poverty that we have, the poor that we have in the world, will always have with us. And the lie of fascism, the lie of socialism, is that you can do away with all that. Well, then who's going to work? Who's going to have vision to invent? Who's going to work hard enough to own things where they can give people good jobs and pay them good money? Who'll do that then? No one. Darkness starts to slide, and it's a slippery slope. And as Jonesy said, you can't point to one nation in this world where socialism or fascism has worked even 50% of what its original goal was. Not even close. Not even 30%. It's been an utter and abject failure. And somebody will say, well, we shouldn't be using such violence. Oh, this is too long. I've got to end this. Indeed. But if somebody to kick in your door tonight, are you going to sit there and let them tie up your wife, your loved ones, your children, throw them in the closet? Are you going to let them showboat in front of you and do whatever they want with your house, take whatever they want, or rape your wife in front of you because you refuse to be violent? No. I know that the Word of God is true. It says very clearly, blessed be the Lord who teaches my hands how to war and my fingers how to fight. And it also says, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, but the violent take it by storm. And it means one simple thing. I don't need to rely on a baseball bat or a knife or fight it out or technical ability to do that. Well, my .45 auto and some other weapons will take care of the job very quickly and without violence and end it. No different than Hiroshima and Nagasaki did. It ended it. It wasn't that we wanted it at all. It wasn't that we began it. But just like the violence in many ways that has been committed against us with this administration, and I knew it would, many people knew it would, it needs to be ended. And that is what Trump stands for. And no, he is not the number one candidate I would have supported. But I'm going to tell you what, I know what brotherhood is, and I know what unity is, and we better all know what that is. So, life or death. That's what uncommon valor is. That's what Jonesy was talking about if you didn't hear it. You all be well, be safe, be sensible, and take those things to heart. We'll see you.